Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we are in the garage yet again, and we'll be working on the Corvette that's back behind us. Today you might be wondering what we'll be putting on. And as you guys can see, we have the carbon fiber piece, this halo bar that goes between the rear window and the glass top roof. We're actually installing another piece of carbon fiber, and that carbon fiber is actually going to be the rear valance. And as you guys can see, this is 100% carbon fiber. There is a little bit of fiberglass mesh on it, kind of in the corners. You guys can see that right there, but mostly, majority of it is carbon fiber. It's probably, might be one or two layers, and then in the corners, they just added more fiberglass kind of reinforcement mesh. At least that's my assumption of what that is. Then you guys can also see our rear brake duct that's right here. This is actually the driver's side rear brake duct. What we're doing there is actually kind of trimming out the wheel liner, running our fuel system through that hole. When I put that A&A fuel kit in there probably 2 years ago, I didn't know how to route this, so I kind of just took the part off and routed the lines around the splash guard. So since we're going to be in there having to take it apart for this rear valance, we might as well put that brake duct back in there and do that little bit of trimming. That way we can get everything lined up and get all of the parts on the car instead of just having stuff laying around. Now the install for this rear diffuser shouldn't be that difficult. All we really need to do is pop out the rear backup lights from the stock piece. There are two 10mm bolts, so we can see those holes right there. You guys can see there are 3 holes here. Those are 7mm bolts. I think that's a push pin in the corner. I'm not really sure. There's push pins along the bottom. Then, like I said, those two 10mm bolts on the top. So I think all you're going to need for this is a 7mm socket, a 10mm socket, and you should be good to go. Alright guys, kind of like I was saying earlier, you need to remove a bunch of push pins. There's at least 4 on each side. Mine's missing one here. This car's been taken apart so many times, it's not a big surprise that it's missing. So you're basically going to want to pull these pins out. And yeah, take this out. And we might need to take out some of these 8mm screws here. These are holding the fender liner in. It might help get us room to those 3 7mm screws or 8mm, I'm not really sure what size it is, that are back here in this corner. So let's get those push pins out, take this hardware out. I'll try to get access to these interior bolts. Now there's a bolt here in the very corner, there's a bolt here, and then there's another bolt a little bit further up. So there's 3 bolts or screws, whatever you want to call that. They're all 7mm, they're inside the bumper. And the best way to get to the front one was through the little cavity here. You'll feel it, it's on the side. And then for the other 2, I actually stuck my hand up behind the rear diffuser, this plastic one, up through there. And I was able to get to the 2 bolts that are here and here. Actually, you guys might be able to see, yeah, there's one right there. So I was able to get, you know, my hand up in there and get that out. So we got, if you guys can see between the tips, there is 10mm bolt there. There's another one on the passenger side. We're going to take the passenger side wheel off, all those push pins, as well as those 3 or 4 bolts that are holding in the rear diffuser, as well as the 3 or 4 holding in the rear splash guard. Alright guys, here is the OEM rear diffuser versus the carbon fiber. As you guys can see, we need to transfer over the rear backup lights, so we got to take these screws out, put them over there. The biggest problem I had with getting this out, if you guys can see, these are almost like your body tabs. So if you guys have to press up a little bit to slide it out, and the bumper goes through here. So you can see this one's really bent right here. This one I literally had to get under the car, straighten, then I was able to pull back and out and get this from attached to the body. We got the reverse lights swapped over on the passenger and the driver's side. Everything went together fairly easily. I did have to expand one of the holes that the bottom of the reverse lights sits on, because these actually have these little holes on the bottom of this lip, and one of them, I think it was the passenger side, one of them wasn't fully drilled through. Like, it had like the impression of a hole, but there's still a layer of carbon fiber over it. So I just drilled over that real quick and made sure not to go through the other side. Just, I mean, very light pressure with our drill over here. Drilled that, and everything pretty much went in. I did have to mess around with these tabs on the top. Like, the way these lights go in, they first go in this tab on the bottom, then you swing it up and put your hardware in through the top. These, since it's a carbon fiber fiberglass mix, I had to push them up a little bit out of the way and kind of bend the piece, not to the point where you're gonna break it, but just kind of move it out of the way. I moved it out of the way, slid the light in, and then it kind of clamped back down. So just be aware, you might have some finagling to do with these rear carbon fiber diffusers. And I'll be honest guys, this looks freaking awesome. I can't wait to get it on the car. So that should be it. The reverse lights are in, and now all we got to do is put this in the car. The one thing I have some concern about is this hole right here. I'm not sure if these are going to line up properly with the exhaust tips being in the way, because you know, on the GM piece you've got a bigger hole and these things are flexible. This is carbon fiber with, you know, fiberglass backing on it. So I'm just not sure how accurate these holes are going to be. I'll be honest guys, I'm probably gonna have to drill these out a little bit, and I just hope that this slides in without issue. So I'm in the middle of installing the carbon fiber piece, and I noticed something majorly wrong. Look at the angle of this, of these two mounts right here that go up to the bumper support. So it goes up and then this way, so shaped kind of like that. The piece on the carbon fiber is shaped more like that. So if you guys look between the exhaust tips and you see that piece coming down, that ain't headed toward the bumper, that's headed to nowhere. And take a look over here on the passenger side, same thing. It is angled up, but then it's like angled 90 down. It should have been like a 45. So, I've got an idea that might work. So if you guys look at a side profile, this is coming up, and then it's not quite straight, but you know, it's more like coming up and then maybe a 15-degree angle. Well, the other one is coming up and then heading straight down in a 90-degree angle, so it's like that. So I have a thought. We can take the straps here off of this piece and actually put it on the carbon fiber piece. You guys look, these are just screwed in. So I think I can get a nut and bolt, take these apart, and take these off. So we might be able to salvage this by using the OEM pieces that are screwed into the rubber. So I think if I cut off the 90 that's on that carbon fiber piece, it's kind of hard to see, but then bolt the vertical strip that's still on the carbon fiber piece, we could bolt that to our OEM piece that I have them holding up with my finger. I think we could get this to work. Like I said, just cut this tab off here, bolt that to that. Guys, that very well may work. I can't believe they screwed that up that bad. That's nowhere near close. And guys, I've tried to push this like up in the way to try to get it to even close to bolting down, and there's no way that's going to work. It's putting too much stress on the carbon fiber, and I think it would just crack right here at the very end. Alright guys, we did get the rear diffuser fully installed. I want to show you kind of the trick thing that we did in the middle. You guys should be able to see the kind of integration of the carbon fiber piece as well as the OEM piece. So you guys could see the nuts and bolts that I drilled through the carbon fiber piece. There's just a simple clip on the back of that. Bolted that through in two places on the carbon fiber. Like I showed you, I was going to cut the top off, and then we have the top 10mm, that's the OEM piece. And I did that for both the driver's side as well as the passenger side muffler. So we're pretty much done here on the passenger side. Everything is pushed in, the clips, everything are on, as well as all of the hardware. There's those 3 7mm bolts on the inside, and the push pins are on the bottom as well. So we should be good to go. Alright guys, you can see we have taken the driver's side apart even more. I took off the rear tub as well as the rear splash guard right here. Took that all out, and that is because we're trying to fit this brake duct here. And as you guys can see right now, it is plugged into the rear fender, but it won't connect to where this screw hole is, because basically there's a 7mm screw that goes from the chassis into this duct mount. And if you guys could see, the fuel line is actually in the way. So when I initially installed this system, I really wasn't sure how to mount this, and I kind of just chose the best route that I thought was proper, and I just took the duct out because it was in the way. But as you guys can see from these pictures here, what the way most shops actually do is by cutting a hole in this rear splash guard, and what they do is they either cut out this whole section right here, or they just cut like an access hole to where, you know, the fuel line is going to go. So I think we're going to try to cut as little as possible. So we're just going to reposition some of these fittings, and we want to get this fuel line to come down Oh, I don't know, maybe just even an inch. It was very close from the back here, and all I gotta do is just move this down a little bit, and I think we'll be able to get this done. So I'm gonna grab a bucket, that way if we spill any fuel it won't be too bad. All right guys, so we did rearrange the fuel line. You guys can see that was more down at like a 15-degree angle. Now that's pretty much a 90. We've routed the line like it's featured on the A&A website, and this is pretty much at a 45 going straight out as well. So this is pretty much level, that's level, and the fuel line just kind of snakes. But yeah, so I just test fitted the brake duct, and it fit perfectly fine. And as you guys can see, we did end up catching a bunch of gas. So I'm actually gonna filter this and put it in my lawnmower. All right guys, we got the fender liner back in, we got the brake duct back in. Like I said, this has been missing for 2+ years. We got the splash guard, everything back here underneath the carbon fiber. All that is plugged in and good to go. We got all of our clips. We got our ZR1 plastic fender guard thing that's installed. We got all of the hardware down here, and if you guys could see, we did make a cutout for the fuel pump. So our fuel filter, fuel line, and all that stuff's routed correctly. All right guys, that's pretty much gonna be it for the carbon fiber rear diffuser install, as well as the fuel line, moving that, putting that rear brake duct back in. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. We've got plenty of more Corvette coming, so hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out the links down below. I'll try to get you a link to that rear diffuser and maybe some of the hardware and tools that we use. And make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks guys. Have a great one.